Welcome to Scary Friends, everybody. This is where we read creepypastas. Noobs read creepypastas. New people read creepypastas. Everyone reads creepypastas. And everyone.
At what point do we not become noobs anymore?
When you read 100 creepypastas and recite the national anthem of creepypasta.
There's a national anthem for creepypasta?
Yes.
Oh, creepypasta, can you see?
That's going to be an episode.
Are you for real?
Yes.
Wait, you're not fucking with me right now?
Yes.
Oh, Ninja High, dude.
I said we're going to read some bad ones eventually. Who knows?
Oh, that sounds terrible.
Ew.
What? I didn't
Ew.
What did I miss? I missed something.
Gross. I mean, I hope this podcast lasts for 100 episodes. That would be nice. So after we read 100 creepypastas, we become not noobs anymore. We become rookies.
You become
non-creepypasta
noobs.
We're privates
to plebs.
To plebs.
Noob to pleb.
All right, so today I am joined by my friends Dan,
hello,
Nate, William,
hi,
Dylan.
Hey, John.
Look at that. Everyone spoke up, and all I had to do was mix up the order a little bit, and everyone had to be on point.
Intros are easy.
Intros are so good.
Yeah.
All right.
10 tries.
Now,
this is why we did
can I ask you guys a
try.
question? Can I ask you guys a question real quick?
Yeah.
Who here has played with Barbie? Raise your hands. Don't raise your hands. This is a podcast.
You asshole.
Yeah, really.
No, my sister had them. So and when we were very, very young, she had the Barbies and I had the action figures.
His theme song is Barbie Girl.
No, it's not. But anyway,
nice though.
Yeah. So
Thank you.
I mean, my sister had. I think she had the whole Rapunzel set when that was a thing. So I don't know. So I'm familiar.
William, any Barbie?
I mean, I didn't play
you have sisters.
I didn't
so.
play with Barbies. I played with Polly Pockets a ton though. Those are so fun.
Hell yeah.
You get a tour bus and a lake,
and it opened up.
There was diving boards and little Polly Pockets, little men pockets. I don't know what the hell they were called.
Guys, we're the most manliest people.
Yo,
that are making
talk about men pockets.
Dude,
not Polly.
The freaking RVs
Molly.
of Polly Pockets were unreal.
Polly Pockets. Yo, that's cool. Yo, Nate, what do you got?
Nothing.
You got no Barbie?
No.
Well, you didn't.
You go party?
It's you and Dylan. So.
Shut up.
Well, let me question them. I'll ask the questions. Do you have Barbie?
Is that your... No.
Do you like the party?
The cat in the window freaked me out.
No.
The cat's coming down.
Oh, he's gonna meow you. Better let him out.
All right, I'll let him out eventually. Actually, when he gets to the door, let him out.
He's getting his door now.
Okay, well, obviously Nate's never played with Barbie, so he never had a childhood, and he was abused.
He never had
Legos!
He was abused. Anyway, I'm kidding, he wasn't abused. Dylan, your experience with Barbie, go.
There was this one edition. It was called Skillfully. Played with him every time online. It was crazy.
You know, the toy Barbie, asshole, not me.
What does that even mean?
Am I made of plastic? Do I look fantastic?
Yes.
You can comb John's hair.
Dylan is clearly on point this evening.
Like you?
Dylan's slaying it.
What are you
That's sure. I'll give him a
God.
high five.
Fuck that. All right, well.
Everybody knows that.
Got him
Dylan
some
is the
depths.
Richard Pryor of creepypasta.
I'm not black though. I'm sorry, I thought you were Pryor.
Dylan's gonna become the George Carlin of our era. Just you wait.
Donald Trump.
I've literally laid back in my chair. I've given up at this point.
Okay.
All right, so John.
This is a non-professional
what are we reading?
podcast. So, does anyone know why I may have asked why we are talking about Barbies?
No, John, please
No,
tell
John,
us.
why
are you?
Because it's Barbie.avi.
All these Santa Claus shit. Stop getting so loud.
It's Christmas.
In Hollywood.
Happy New
Back up
Year.
in the hood. It's past our birth.
Yeah, pretty much.
What the fuck are you talking about? All right, anyway,
All right,
we're reading Barbie.avi. So, what
who's
is your
the
opinion about the title, Barbie.avi?
I just want to know the author's name, actually.
That's
what concerns me.
Why is that so loud?
The author's name is unknown.
Oh shit.
It's unknown.
Pokemon?
Anonymous.
We have no
Okay, so can we
unknown author, untitled author. So this is anonymous.
Do you have the? Because I'm looking at it on my phone. Do you have the photo? The metal
Yes, I
shed
do have the photo. That'll
like,
be on the screen.
What the fuck?
Yes.
Oh boy.
Okay, so what?
It's just a photo of a metal shed.
Yeah, it's really creepy. It's
Very devious.
Oh, that makes me uncomfortable.
So Barbie.avi.
That's a
so
Barbie utopia. Okay.
So mix Barbie and movie because
It's
AVI is a
Barbie's
movie
murder
clip. So what's gonna happen here?
I'm guessing pedophilia.
Barbie goes to a paradise in Long Beach, California. Goes with her boyfriend Ken. They have a nice time.
They're not together anymore.
Oh really?
Yeah,
they broke up.
They broke up years
No
ago.
way, really?
Yeah.
This is the kind of bite stuff. This is the biting shit that people want to know.
Wait,
They
you
actually
actually
watched
Yeah,
What's
biting
it
shit. I
I
say.
don't know why I know that.
If
Let's
you
restart.
watch the
I'm kidding.
No, it's
Ken movie-
Who's she traveling with?
I'm not starting it now.
She's not dating. I don't think she's. Or she was dating. Wasn't it like G.I. Joe? Like this was on the news.
Oh.
Like this was.
I'm guessing.
news.
I'm guessing Ken had too much plastic surgery in a certain area.
What is going on right now? Okay, so this is a creepypasta based on a movie. Well, not a movie, like a video clip. So this is the first time you guys are going to experience this.
Wait, so...
I'm not a kid.
This creepypasta was written based on a YouTube video?
No. Or... I'm not really sure what the origins are, because the author, again, is anonymous. It just exists, the story. It's there, and people see it, and there's comments and stuff. 124 comments as of this time on it. So obviously people have read it, and again, it's popular. And that's the only thing we're going to be doing for now is popular stuff that people... But again, it could be good or it could be bad. So, what's your take right now?
Well,
good story, bad story?
For real, everything's bad.
Yes.
I like normal porn for normal people.
All right, another reference.
Barbie.
Yeah.
I found it. Barbie in the Nutcracker.
Dude, that was such a good movie.
I know,
Oh
right?
my gosh. Oh, I do have experience with Barbie. No. Because we had all the VCRs. Barbie the Nutcracker, and there's one she was Rapunzel, and there's a Princess and the Pauper one.
Yes.
Dude.
Oh my
and they had
God.
songs. They were sing-alongs.
Too late.
my
6 minutes in.
God,
6
dude.
fucking minutes
Is
in.
Barbie
You
still
for
like a
reminding me
thing?
that.
It's too
Oh
late.
my gosh, which one was it that had Preminger in it?
Oh my god.
He was a dope character.
Okay, so
and there was a
John, do
cat
you want
that
to start
talked.
reading this fucking thing?
I think that was the Rapunzel one. I'm wondering.
Was it?
Oh, please.
I think it was.
Not
It's too late for this.
It might have been the Rapunzel one.
All right, Nate, stay awake here. We're going to read the story soon.
Dude, thank you for reminding me.
We're gonna read the story
God bless,
now,
brother, God
John.
bless.
Go.
There were so many of those.
All right, who's ready to read a story?
We only had like 3 or 4.
Clearly not Will.
All right, go ahead. Start it up.
All right, so without further ado, from the unknown author, this is Barbie.avi.
Pokemon unknown.
I want to kill you.
Dylan, if you make that fucking joke one more time, I swear to
You're
God.
Hello! This thing happened to me a few months ago. I just need to share it with somebody. It all started at a friend's party. He's an artist who rented out a loft in the industrial part of town. If you can picture a place like Detroit, but what it looked like in the 1920s, that's what this area looks like. A bunch of old turn-of-the-century factories crammed into 10 blocks. Most of them abandoned. So I partied a little too hard that night and decided to crash on the couch at the loft. I woke up at around 4 a.m. The sun wasn't out yet, but you could still make things out in the dim blue light. I went to the bathroom, carefully tiptoeing around the people who were also passed out on the floor. As I was taking a piss, I tiptoed to look out the bathroom window, and I saw the panorama of a deserted urban decay. Wow, I botched that word up.
That English degree I have is...
So,
really kicking in.
right off the bat, we have a very realistic setting. We have what I assume is a guy that's around our age, in the young 20s, or like a college guy, partying at some friend's
I'm gonna
loft.
assume it's a woman too. You know?
Yeah, I thought it was a woman just because Barbie,
Yeah.
but whatever.
Are you playing with
Wow, you
Bionicles?
sexist fucks.
No.
Alright, well,
I was gonna
you're
say,
I'm playing with
you're
Barbies.
sexist for assuming it's a man.
Ha!
Oh my god.
You're the one
How
with
is
those,
that
the male-dominating gaze, or whatever the fuck
It's a
called.
toy.
That's
Doesn't
not-
have
that was
feeling.
it. No, that's it.
It's a toy. It doesn't
close.
have feelings.
I'm trying.
Are you assuming Barbie's the one walking around right now?
No, I
but I'm
just assumed
I
it was
mean,
just a-
the patriarchy clearly isn't as established in my head as it is in yours.
Okay,
You
damn.
piece of shit.
Dan, go, please.
You
Hurry.
cis male scum.
Damn it.
I remember how much I liked places like this. It was so dark and devoid of life and strangely serene. Okay, weirdo.
Yeah.
So I went back to the couch and tried to fall asleep. Well, I have a house for you. It's called No One's House. So I went back to fucking.
Gonna reference every single one, aren't we? It's amazing.
We were only 4 in, so like, of course.
Oh, what are you talking about? We're 9 minutes in. We've read like 2 paragraphs.
I mean
Episodes, he's talking.
episodes.
Oh, we're at 4? Yeah, this is the
Yeah.
4th episode.
So I went back to the couch and I tried to fall asleep. After 45 minutes of staring at the ceiling, I decided I didn't want to be there any longer. So I swallowed my pride and decided, oh, so it is a guy. Could still be a woman. Decided to wake my girlfriend up
It's
to beg
still
her
a
for a
girl.
ride, since walking around the vacant streets at this time was not an option. Being an awesome girlfriend, she was totally cool with it, and told me she would be there in about half an hour and that she would give me a call when she was outside. My phone died 10 minutes later, so I decided I would sit by the window and watch for her car. I sat there for a while and my eyes started getting heavy and I began to doze off. Oh boy. A crashing noise outside woke me up. It wasn't loud, but it was just enough to snap me into reality. I looked out the window and scanned the area, but didn't see anything. Across the street from the loft, near a mountain of garbage bags and one of those enormous dumpsters, I see a computer and a monitor smashed against the floor that hadn't been there before.
Okay, so just real quick, rolling back. Was he at a party earlier?
Yeah, he's at a loft party right now.
That was the
Yeah,
beginning.
why do you always forget the
I
establishing?
don't know. I have a hard
criteria?
time at the very beginning for some reason.
Yeah, he's at a loft party in like a rundown.
A
part of
very
Detroit.
realistic setting. He's in a crappy area of Detroit at a friend's house at a
He's at
party.
a loft.
How do you know
He
it's a
wakes up
crappy
at
area
4
of Detroit?
What? What?
Why
He
do you
literally
think-
said Detroit.
Oh, but he didn't hear a crappy area. I heard Detroit.
It was.
He said there's a shit ton, there's a bunch of abandoned
Okay,
Okay.
he didn't say shit, but he said it's an area surrounded by factories, most of them abandoned. So
Right.
it's not a place you want to be at night.
And last time I checked, well, it said 1920s Detroit.
It looks
but-
like 1920s Detroit, which is kind of with abandoned
Okay.
factories.
Right.
And it's 4 a.m.
I'm so glad
He
people
wakes up.
pay attention to what they're reading.
I'm sorry. At the very
He wakes
beginning,
up-
I have a hard time.
All right, he wakes up and he's tiptoeing around. He goes to the
it's
bathroom.
4
He
in
calls
the
his
morning.
girlfriend to pick him up,
All right.
and then he hears a computer crash.
Yeah. All right. So when my girlfriend arrived, I went downstairs and greeted her. Just as I was about to get in the car, I remembered a friend of mine who had blown out his power supply. So I decided to walk over to the dumpster and see what I could salvage. The monitor was worthless, but the tower seemed to have suffered almost no damage, so I put it in the trunk and we drove off. Great.
Here we
Good.
go.
Good. Excellent.
Here we go.
About a week had passed, and I had completely forgotten about the tower until my girlfriend called to let me know that it was still in the trunk and that she wanted it out. That night, I brought it home. Before I took it apart, I decided to hook it up to my monitor to see if it still ran, and to my surprise, it did. It ran Windows XP, and it looked like it had been wiped clean. I decided to do searches for words like tits and pussy in hopes of finding some secret stash
Smart
for
man.
weird deviant porn the previous owner had forgotten about. Morbid curiosity, I guess. Search came up nothing. Searched for picture files, nothing. Then I searched for movies and one file came up. It was an AVI inside a folder titled Barbie, hidden in the Windows System 32 directory.
Oh boy.
Alright, so first of all,
Already.
when you name a file like that, you name it Tax Records
Right.
2014.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
what you name it.
Or you put it in your Internet Explorer folder, like name it like pn.or.
Like, come on.
Like,
There's no one's
Call
like,
it. There's no porn here. I promise. .avi.
Yeah.
or you put it like
Not.
your porn folder's like 45 folders that you have to click through before you get to the actual porn.
We did that once to my friend when we took all his files and we buried them in like 50
my
layers
God.
of folders.
Oh
He was
my
furious.
God.
He was
I'm
very
sure he was.
angry. He was very angry.
We used to fuck with our computer graphics teacher like that in high
Yeah.
school.
The first file was the lone icon on his desktop titled "Ha ha 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 ha."
With a bunch of sinister shit.
All right, who's reading next?
Me.
Dylan, it's just established. Dylan, are you reading or?
No, he's not watching really. Family
Okay,
Guy.
so we're
I watch
just.
Family Guy.
Oh, okay.
Stupid.
Good
No,
to-
he's got the story.
He was watching it. So I played it So I played it. Now this is where it gets disturbing. The movie was about an hour long and was made up of what seemed like raw exported footage. The footage was this woman sitting on a chair and talking against a white backdrop. I skipped through most of the movie and it was all the same continuous shot. Then I decided to sit through the footage to find out what she was talking about. 15 seconds into the footage, the audio goes completely bad and her voice is drowned in harsh, static background noise. I couldn't make out a thing.
So he's so kind of like interestingly enough, this is how you usually watch porn videos. You don't watch the whole thing. You click around.
Right, you go right.
You don't. It's like
Well, you
Well,
watch-
no,
where does
I-
it start?
you get
I'm the
20
type of
seconds.
guy where I like a good story. So, I mean, who doesn't love? I mean, we all know what's coming when the fucking pizza guy. comes
Haha!
over.
There, zing.
But shut up. But
Those
I
lemon
that
stealing
was
whores.
totally unintentional. We all
If
know
you
what's
haven't
gonna
already,
happen.
watch Normal Porn, our first pilot
Our
episode.
first pod-
Oh my
like,
gosh.
comment, and subscribe. No, but yeah, I mean, you know, I legit like. Like I like a porn with a good story.
Where were we on again? My God, what the fuck were we
Was there a
talking about?
typo in there, by the way?
He's importing the footage. Yeah, there is.
Yeah, that's...
So
He's-
essentially-
it's like the third.
Okay, yeah. So essentially, there's this hour-long video, and he's sort of clicking through it, trying to
Well,
watch
you would
it.
do that
but
too.
he
You
can't.
don't wanna sit
But he
there.
can't hear it because of static.
You're not going to ejaculate for the whole fucking hour.
Well, yeah, but you.
It's not a
Maybe
porn
you
video.
say
Is
Dylan.
yeah, but we're saying is he's trying to skip to see what the fuck it's about.
Normal porn for normal people.
Because like everybody would do that. You wouldn't sit there and listen to a woman talk for an hour.
And it's in
on that
stat.
video, yeah, and it's all staticky. Also, Google's gonna sue because don't they own the rights to like the white room background now? I remember reading that. Like
I have
something
no
like
idea.
I mean,
something-
or it
something
could just be
stupid
bad
like
audio, like this podcast.
that.
Don't want to go?
No,
Like-
no, I'm not reading.
Oh, you're not reading? Okay,
You
so
read it.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
Okay. So I imported the footage into Final Cut and tried to mess with the levels to isolate her voice. It helped a little, but I still couldn't hear what she was saying. I was intrigued now, and I began to really pay attention to her face and body, her body language. It seems that she's being asked some kind of questions, because she stops at times to listen and then continues talking. About 15 minutes into the footage, her face begins to redden and contort, as if the questions are starting to bother her. But she continues to answer them anyway. Shortly after, she begins to cry. She sobs hysterically during the duration of the film. One of the few words I could lip read was skin.
Oh, God.
She repeats this many times throughout the footage, and at one point she even pulls on her own skin from her arm and mouths the word. She seems to be unhappy with her skin.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
She's gonna be like one of those.
Ladies, it's about what's on the inside, not the outside.
Thank you, Dylan.
Thank you, Dylan.
And again, we have to put an Aesop fable to the fucking creepypasta.
So many typos in this.
Yeah, it's well, that's why it's anonymous.
They were embarrassed.
There's much more I have to get off my chest, but it is getting late and I can't go on. I will share the rest tomorrow. God save my. That's a weird.
Wait, is that part of the story?
Yeah.
You thought he was just saying it?
Was
Like,
this?
Yeah, that.
This is supposed to be a post online.
Yeah, but,
That's literally what this
but
is.
that's
I was about
kind
to say,
of that's kind of weird.
Is it trying to mimic like that idea of like
Like,
a person
yeah.
gradually spooling out a story?
Yeah, that's kind of that.
Well, no, it's supposed to be an online form.
No, I
talking
know,
about something
but
they found.
they could have cut that because that in context it's weird.
Yeah, I guess so.
It kept on building and building, and about 40 minutes in, she's crying so hard she can barely look at the camera. She stops talking at this point. The rest of the footage is just her crying with her head down. Oddly enough, she doesn't move or get up. The screen just fades to black. I was fucking dumbfounded.
Great sense.
I played the whole thing through many times that night, trying to find inflections and nuances in her movement that would reveal anything else about what was going on. I felt so dissatisfied. I wanted to know more. Oh my god. This is when I noticed there was about 10 more minutes left on the timeline after the screen went back. And about 2 minutes in, there was some more footage. Oh, but why is it always some asshole that's like, I gotta know more. It's not
You
enough
gotta
that
know.
this isn't creepy as shit.
You know it's no.
Gotta know.
Because if you don't know, you don't know.
Maybe it's
You know?
interesting.
The footage was extremely shaky, almost unwatchable, and depicted a pair of legs walking along train tracks. My guess is that the camera was accidentally left on as it was being carried somewhere. The person in this footage walks along the train tracks for about 6 minutes, and then turns into the forest and walks over what looks like foliage flattened by a piece of plywood. The person continues on this makeshift plywood road until the movie clip ends. Now my heart started beating with excitement because there were train tracks a few miles away that looked very similar to the one in the video. I had to check it out.
It's always some
We have an
asshole.
adventure.
I'm on board.
It's
I'm
always some
excited.
asshole.
It's an adventure on our hands. What are we gonna find?
Porn. I called up my
Why is
friend.
everything porn?
It's my dad's old stash. Buried it in the woods.
Oh god.
After I'm married, I had to bury the stash of porn for my grandkids so that they can watch it
Took
too.
me 3
And
years,
and
but I got
hand
through
crank
all that.
dildo. What?
Oh, I love them flappers. It's been 100 years since the flappers were a thing. Alright.
Flapping around.
Oh, fuck.
Okay, I called up my friend Ezra. He's 6'4", 250 pounds of mostly muscle.
Okay, so this guy's a little bit smarter.
Yeah.
I convinced him to go on a little adventure with me. I'm no pushover myself, but I felt it. I felt if it was to go wandering in the woods looking for God knows what, extra muscle couldn't hurt. This whole idea of investigating this video had me so excited I couldn't sleep. The next morning on a sunny Saturday, I took my flashlight, my camera, and my 7-inch Kabar with a matte black finish and serrated edge and went to pick up Ezra. When I got to his house, he wasn't even awake. When I woke him, he pretty much told me to fuck off. I was already packed and I had mentally prepared myself to do this, so I decided to go through it without him.
No, you
What
were
a
on a
dick.
good
I parked
streak.
my car at the train station, took my stuff, and hopped onto the tracks.
So he goes to Ezra and basically says, "Fuck you, I'm going to sleep."
Come on, how about you shoot a text first? Or...
No, that's cool though, because like it seems like the character was like trying to do the right thing. And
No, the
like,
character's doing the right thing, and then he's just like, you know what, fuck. He's probably just like, you know what, fuck this guy. I don't care if he wants to sleep. I want to go. And I'm gonna go. I'm packed up. I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
From
So
like a
fuck it. I'm doing
No,
this.
I'm just saying like from that perspective, like the character actually didn't do something dumb and go or tried not to go into the woods.
You know,
you had him...
I can't explain it, but if you're the reader at this point, like, and you've been reading the story this entire time, you're basically like now you're invested.
Yeah.
Like you're totally invested right now.
All it takes is you add in one little thing to make your protagonist seem so much more realistic.
Right.
It's not, I mean, it's good.
And that's making him not do dumb shit.
Should I just continue?
No, I can. Wait, where is it?
After walking.
Where is it?
After walking. Right after the tracks.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. Oh, did you finish? Oh, you did. Okay. You
Yeah.
parked your car on the train station. You took my stuff. Okay. All right. After walking for about 2 hours, I saw a broken piece of plywood, and my knees almost buckled with excitement. I searched the nearby foliage, and there it was, a little plywood trail leading into the forest. I walked slowly along the trail, paying close attention to everything. I would occasionally kneel over and listen for anything or anyone, but it was so quiet. This was one of those nerve-wracking things This is one of the most nerve-wracking things I've ever done. I didn't know what to expect at the end of the trail. The dense tree line gave way into a little island of grassy fields, and then I saw it, a house being consumed by the forest. From the looks of it, no one had lived there for maybe 20, maybe 30 years. I got my camera and snapped a few pics. A few yards away from the house was a tool shed made of rusty sheet metal. I just sat there among the trees for a while, absorbing everything. So he's found a house.
I gotta say one thing, that, like, this guy must be really intimately familiar with his train tracks. Because if the camera's, like, pointed toward the ground, and all you can see are train tracks...
And he walked for 2 fucking
I
hours.
know, that's what got me. I was
That's
like,
a long
first
fucking
of all,
time.
he recognizes his town train tracks
Right.
in the video,
Right.
and then is willing to just walk.
Just keep walking
Train
until
tracks
he
go
finds
for
it.
a bit,
Right,
you know?
right,
I don't
right.
know.
Well,
He's 2 hours from his
I
car.
mean,
Like,
to be fair, I
that's
mean,
fucked.
he got lucky, but that's dedication.
yeah, that's seriously. I didn't want to go into the open field. I had this bad feeling that something would see me. It took me a while to muster the courage to up. There's a lot of typos in this. Muster the courage to go up to the house. The door was partly open. Here we go. I pushed it in with the flashlight and was relieved that the inside was actually very well lit. I put my flashlight away, got my camera, and took a few pics. There was no furniture. The floor was riddled with bricks and wood and rubble, and some of the walls had huge holes in them. When I went in further to explore, I saw some things that I didn't pay much mind to at that moment. But now that I think about them in hindsight, they greatly disturbed me. Okay.
This feels very Blair Witch right now.
It does. It's very much the end of the
This
of
feels
Blair Witch.
very Blair Witch.
It's a great movie.
I love that movie. Everyone hates on it. It's like cool
No,
to hate
it's
on Blair
really
Witch.
good.
I haven't
Let's
seen
love
it yet.
It's pretty.
You
You
love
wouldn't
that
want
movie.
to. I don't
It's
think you would
really
want
good.
The first and last movie to do found footage well.
I have a website dedicated to it too.
Yeah.
Oh.
The first thing that seemed a little odd was that one of the doors in the first room, that I presume led to the basement, seemed a little too new to be in this house. It was also the only door in the house that was locked. Also, when I made my way up to the second floor, I saw some chairs and a fold-up table that also seemed a little too new to be there. But what disturbed me the most for some reason was the bathroom. The dust on the mirror had been wiped away, and in the bathtub, I saw a clear plastic tarp that still had water droplets on it from when I presume it was washed clean. That's when I heard something moan really loud, and that's when I jumped the fuck out of the second story window.
Are you
And
serious?
ran
What?
back to the tracks.
Wow.
Finish it off. Just there's not much left. Just finish it.
Halfway there, I realized the moaning was most likely a water pipe expanding or contracting, and that little moment of relief gave into the horror which I felt when I wondered why the water would be running on an abandoned house in the middle of the fucking woods. It's been a little more than 2 months since this happened, and I haven't gone back there, nor do I plan to.
Wow.
And that's the story.
Is that it? Wow, that was
Called
really
Barbie.avi.
short.
It's a
That
much.
was really
It's
short.
just a short story. It's a much.
Oh,
That,
really?
was, that was a
Sorry.
creepypasta blue balls if I've ever read one.
Really?
Yeah.
That was the one that you really liked with no
I was
resolution.
digging it. Yeah.
And then,
Finally,
of
this one is
course,
so
speaking to
weird.
me,
and then it
it's
just
like,
went,
So
and it's
weird.
cut short.
I
Yeah.
did not like that because nothing happened.
Well, me neither, but it was.
Well, it's
it
what-
was something coming.
It's a different kind of story from the
Yeah,
big
I
ones
guess.
that we have read.
But like at least the other ones, like there was some kind of resolution. There was some
Well,
kind of explanation. This was
sometimes
like,
these things
I heard
don't
a noise
have
and I jumped out the window.
well,
and
is there
fuck it.
always
No,
resolution?
I hated the
I mean,
ending.
And it was.
I mean,
it felt like rushed.
couldn't you realistically think this could be real? The idea of going into
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I
This
loved
is
how real it felt.
this
yeah.
is this is definitely the realest one I would say so far. I mean,
The
even more
idea
real than normal
of,
porn for normal people.
Oh, yeah.
It's the same kind of premise too.
It felt similar.
Yeah.
I was hoping at the very beginning that they would go somewhere, and they did, and I was super pumped, and I was like, we're going places, and then they were like, LOL, JK, and the story.
Yeah,
ended.
like they just pulled the rug out from under us, and that was it. I heard a moan, I jumped out the window.
But
and
to
I
be
went home.
fair,
What the fuck?
if you were a person who went that far, that's how the story would end for you. The minute you hit that house and get freaked out, you run and you never look back.
Jump
I
out the
guess-
And
window.
you
guess.
spend the rest of your life not knowing and not wanting to know.
But like, there's that little like part of you that's like, I do want to know.
As a person reading a story, obviously, it's a huge letdown.
I think he stopped.
just very
I think this person,
anticlimactic.
whoever it was, stopped when they were ahead. I think that the idea of this story was that it's a post on the internet. So
Right.
even though that this isn't supposed to be a story, it's just a post on the internet, something that happened. There's a I don't know if this is a no sleep. There's a genre in the creepypastas there's a Reddit called No Sleep,
Okay.
which has similar stories to they're just posts. There's
Subreddit.
there's creepypastas that are creepypastas can be much smaller than this. Like there's ones that are a few paragraphs long.
Yeah.
But I felt like this was I think it was as long as it had to be. I don't know what
Disagree.
else. You really think so?
Yeah.
Coming off of
You
no
could-
end house.
Well, how else would you
I mean,
would
there
I
could
add
have been
to
there
it?
could have been something.
Maybe he could run and like see a shadow or something. I don't know.
Or
go in
something.
the shed.
Cause like to me, I assume.
why would
that,
you go in the
like,
shed after hearing a moaning, Mo?
Just if
And
you
then jump out
jumped
the second.
All right. My
Obviously, it
point is
was
that,
realistic enough for him to jump out a second story window.
Right.
So obviously, it was something that sounded very, very
Well,
realistic.
All right.
To
I know
me-
before I was like I wanted like realism.
Yeah.
There's a certain drawback to realism is that there's a mundaneness to the way we operate in real life.
Right.
It runs.
I mean, this guy did everything right. Like he heard a noise and ran, and
He tried to get his
everybody
friend
would
to
do
help.
that. But then that completely ruins the
I
story.
think it's
'cause
a nice-
it just ends.
I think it's a nice, neat,
now, if he went
compact.
to open the window and he couldn't get it open,
Right.
you know, and now he's got to run back through
And he's
the
got to
house.
walk through the house, or even if he went down in the basement and like something was down
In
there.
fact, I'd say there's a way to do nothing in this story and still make it scary if you're able to write about him trying to get out of the house
Right.
and keep finding locked things until he finally finds the open door.
Because to me, it seems like there's a lot of setup.
But that's just
For
repeating the other
nothing
story
to
we just
happen.
read before,
The
too.
name of the story is Barbie.avi, right? And then he keeps looking at this girl and she keeps saying the word skin. So to me, it's like, oh, you know, he's gonna go to this house and like somebody's gonna be like a human Barbie doll or like something fucked up like that. And there's so much setup, and then
Yep.
nothing happens, and it's like,
Well, it's like stumbling
that's-
upon something creepy.
That sucks. Like I
Right.
did not enjoy this at all because the
As-
ending just, it seemed like they just didn't know where to go, and they just like, so I heard a noise and I ran out, and that was it.
But is it a story?
Right, that's what I like about it, the idea that there's something very real in
It
this.
could. The fact that it's also anonymous makes it all the more real. Like it's just a story out there, and the
I'm
guy
gonna-
can't be
I'm gonna
questioned
make-
on it.
I'm going to make everyone really mad when I say this is the favorite one we've read so far.
You're a dick.
I'm gonna fuck you.
I'm starting this. You know what? This was a test. I purposely picked this one after reading No End. I'm like, okay, he wants real. I'm gonna go as real
I
as I
liked it
can.
a lot.
And
Yes,
I'm going
you're a
to.
piece of
I'm
shit.
I'm starting to see what's happening here. Dan likes the psychological horror, which I
No,
like.
you know what I like? I like
both. By
I
the
like
way.
a complete story.
Okay,
That's what I like. This
don't-
was not a complete
I don't
story.
like that there was no ending. Maybe in like retrospect, I think I might end up liking normal porn more because it was a much better coherent story while maintaining this idea of reality.
Realism, yeah.
What,
but-
Nate and Dylan? What do you think of this?
Yeah.
It pulled a Jurassic Park 3 rushing the ending.
What are you talking
I-
about?
That you know how
He
in the
exactly what he
use
said.
metaphors without referencing things.
Try
No,
to,
because
what about
that's
the
how- that's
story?
how-
Try
Alright,
the story.
Everyone's ripping on Dylan. I think that was a perfectly apt metaphor, and I think he had a good point.
I can't tell if you're sarcastic or not.
No.
It's-
What do you mean by that?
Because
Elaborate.
if you watched, I believe everyone's watched Jurassic Park 3. If you go watch the ending to it, it's the most fucking rushed thing they
believe
ever did.
How so?
Because when they get to the, it's like they had the raptors, they get the raptors their eggs, and then they just rush to the beach, and that's it. It's over. That's it.
I'm just
Nate,
no,
please.
It's no. It's
Where's
fine,
this? Where's this? He jumps out of a building. The
Okay,
end. What?
that's okay,
Okay.
That's fine. But what
That's
the
not-
only thing I'm trying to do is that there may be people that have not seen Jurassic Park 3, so that metaphor
Dylan,
doesn't
I
really
meant
work.
the story that we just read.
That's I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I
What
mean,
he's saying is
it
it
cuts
abruptly
short.
ends,
It
and it
abruptly
runs
ends.
for-
And it's
I think
shit.
Dylan-
well, what did you think of the content of it? What was there? That's what I want to know more.
It was poo poo.
You didn't like the story.
It don't poo-poo.
No.
You didn't like this. Okay.
It
Nate,
had this build up that led to nothing.
Right, that's just what it
I
probably
agree. It was good. I was like waiting for that moment also, and I realized, holy shit, there's nothing left. The story's over.
yeah, I wasn't creeped out at all by that.
I was
started getting
I was
creeped
waiting
out.
for more.
Right.
is what
I
was
felt
just-
like I was in a fucking
how it was
the last
intended.
episode of Sopranos.
Yeah, no.
More
That's a
references,
much
great.
more apt
That's
metaphor.
a better metaphor.
You're
That's a
welcome.
much more apt metaphor.
You're welcome.
That being said, don't
You
say
get a
anything bad
round
about
of
The Sopranos.
applause.
I'm not.
Don't you say anything bad
Don't
about
talk
The
shit
I'm
Sopranos.
not. I'm not. I'm just saying it just ended like The Sopranos.
Yeah, no, it did.
That was a good ending for that show. Before anyone says anything
I don't
else.
think.
Are we
Okay.
gonna argue about this?
No.
You.
No,
Let's
'cause
not
we are
talk about
not
The
a television
Sopranos,
podcast.
please. I don't want to get hate for The
No,
Sopranos.
it.
No one.
No,
got
it
hate
just
over The
ends.
Sopranos.
It just ends.
It cuts to black
It
in the middle of the
it
action.
ends when it starts getting creepy.
Alright.
So it's like,
Why?
what the fuck?
It's just.
Right.
I think it's just
Well,
the
that's
author's
the
way
idea
of.
of it. Like, why would he stick around to find out more?
Okay.
Why would any of these? Why would the guy in normal porn for normal people keep
Well, it's just
clicking
curiosity.
hyperlinks?
Well, first of all,
Why
that's
would the kid in
different.
Whimsy Woods
Okay,
fucking do?
okay.
Why would the guy
All right,
in
different.
fucking
Okay,
No
let me
House
answer.
keep going through
Let me
the house?
answer it for you. Okay, so normal porn, the guy's on the internet. He's not actually in any
Yeah,
danger.
clicking
He's just
hyperlinks,
watching
I'd
shit.
see nothing that's weird about a person continuing to explore that avenue.
I guess. Yeah, but he's opening himself up to Trojan viruses.
Now,
That's
now
the
see, what
scariest
that
thing.
Okay,
story did
Whimsy
well
Wood-
is they maintained...
Whimsy Wood, he's a kid
Right.
that's in a theme
Mhm.
park that's having fun up until a point. He gets a little creeped up by a chicken, and then he gets stuck in a roller coaster. And when the creepiness starts, he's in a roller coaster moving at high speeds. He can't do anything about that.
right.
He's like a 6-year-old kid.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
No End House, he
yeah.
does turn to leave in room 3, but he's locked
And he
out,
can't.
so he has no
House
choice,
he was trapped in his own brain the whole time,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
there was no escaping that.
or just a house. But anyway,
Or yeah,
I
sure.
don't know. Yeah, but I mean,
This story was
yes and no. Like yeah, it's realistic
This-
and it makes sense. But the fact that there was nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm prone to hyperbole. I'm gonna dial it back a little. I mean, I know in the first episode I said normal porn for normal people was dumb, and all I've done since is talk about how much I liked it. This is not the best one we've read. I mean, from a purely objective standpoint, I liked it probably the second most because I really thought it didn't. I mean, it was such a good setup. Such a good setup, and it was so.
If you want to talk about realism, yeah, it's very realistic.
And it had that
But-
real edge that I really
but
enjoy.
in terms of a story,
purely
it's not
subjective.
It's not a story.
It is a non-story. I feel like as soon as
what's a post?
I feel like the person who
It doesn't
posted it,
matter.
if we're assuming this is a story and not real, because we can assume it's real, because this felt very real, and I would like to believe it's real,
Right.
because it was really well written. If we assume it's a story as a piece of fiction, it's incredibly poorly done. And he didn't finish what he started, and he got up and walked away halfway through. And that's just...
I wouldn't even say halfway through. I feel like this is like a third of a story.
Objectively, this is
Or
by far
fourth.
the worst written story we've read as a story
That's
with,
fair. Yes,
with a full
that's
arc.
absolutely fair.
Right.
There's no Act 3, there's no Act 2.
What I'm
It's a
trying to
one-act
do is
story.
I'm picking my stories. I'm trying to pick around and
Well,
try
you
to.
picked wrong, John.
No, it's understandable.
not
It's,
the-
it's going to be a bad story. I mean, we eventually. Or,
Yeah.
No, it's just what it is it's different types of creepypasta. It's a very general genre.
I love this type of creepypasta I found.
The no end
Very
end.
in,
the
in
no
my,
end
in
end.
my four story experience. I really like this concept of sort of a thing that is plausible and not in the mind of someone and not supernatural.
I like it, but I don't like it. I like that it wasn't what we were anticipating, like every other story we read. But at the same time, I fucking hate it for
I
that
love-
because there's nothing. There's
I love
nothing.
I love what I wish this story was.
Right. That yeah.
Like if somebody who didn't like whoever, so if this was the first one we actually read, we would have been like this whole
Right. I would be like,
shit.
I'm not doing this podcast.
Yeah,
anymore.
it sucks.
Pack it up. go
Really?
home.
Yeah.
This is an
You don't wanna
unfinished
start with this
story. It's a
Hold on.
very lackluster effort. It was really a lot of typos, but the pacing and the writing.
Oh
was,
yeah, that's
it was
typo.
very well set
It's
up.
kind of like it was written like by
But
a
that's
high
the thing.
schooler.
It's a setup.
You need to nail
It's
this.
it's a
nail
setup.
this to the front of No End House, and you have a good setup and a good sort of action.
Oh yeah.
But it was
Didn't think
all
of that.
set up. That's it.
Yep.
There was no resolution. There was
Exactly.
nothing.
I loved the
It was
setup.
I got scared and I
and
ran.
I was really disappointed by
Alright,
it.
It's kind of like the high school stories we did in a public speaking class where we had to tell a scary story,
Right.
and then kids would say at the end, and then I woke up, and that was it.
Oh yeah, the
Like a public speaking is like,
worst,
oh,
the
The dream.
worst
Well, this
plot
wasn't a
device ever.
dream.
Well, it was real life, but the way
Well, I
the
feel-
story
I
was
feel
told
like
was
too-
like,
I don't think any of these have really been
And
dreams.
I mean, the thing is, if you look at this as a real event, there was just a squatter living in that house.
Right.
That's it.
Well, we
But
don't-
that's terrifying to walk into the house of a squatter. That's fucking creepy.
But that's the thing.
That's
That's
the,
the
and
thing
what's
too.
the name of the genre? It's Creepypasta.
There's so much build up. There's so much build up, and he's like, I got all
they-
excited, and I got my camera.
Did they even
and I
make
went to the
another
house,
one of
and I
this?
walked
Like,
in,
was there any like
and I
in
took
like
pictures,
Barbie
and then he
2?
hears a noise and run. And it's like,
Yeah.
fuck, what the fuck?
Was
There's
there
a pitch, there's picture's length, of course.
were there any sequels to this at all? At
No,
least
that's it.
No, but it's there's
Anonymous author. I mean,
If you
you wouldn't
look-
know if you wrote them. If you wrote them, I mean, you wouldn't know.
if you look at the bottom of the page though, there is, I think they did a YouTube video for the video.
No,
That's
this
the Barbie
is.
video.
Yeah.
No,
that's what I'm
these
saying.
The
vi-
skin video.
Yeah,
I thought.
yeah.
Please note that the original video consists of 6 parts, but no more than 3 parts were ever uploaded. 1, 2, and 4. That's what was uploaded.
Okay.
But
That's
we don't know if this video was made by. I mean, who knows? Maybe this woman is the writer of in these videos that are on the link on the bottom.
You know, the reason I enjoyed this so much is that I enjoy it as a story that really happened.
And it could have.
Rather than
It's
a work
a very.
of fiction.
It's
As a-
very possible
As
this
a
could
work
have
of
happened.
fiction, I find this frustrating. But as someone telling a
Well,
story
now
that
what?
actually
What do you
happened,
want? Well, what do you?
Can you
what
hold
would
on to that
rather
thought for
have
just a
then?
second?
I'd rather be real.
You
And
guys,
that's
you
what I
guys gonna
believe.
hate. You guys gonna hate me for this, but I'm gonna be the first one to say this. Happy birthday, John.
Wait, is it really?
Yeah.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear John. Happy birthday to you.
This is the
You know,
worst.
okay, yeah, but you know what's funny? When we started it, we started this at around 11:30, and I was thinking the same thing, and I totally forgot because I'm so pissed
I was
off by
making
the
sure-
story.
I was making sure. I was like, come on,
All
come
right.
on.
Dylan
Holy
saved it.
shit.
Dylan hit your birthday at the stroke of midnight. That's good.
That's your
I'm
birthday.
very happy we got.
I don't
that
know if I should
recorded.
release this now tomorrow because I'm gonna release one of these on my actual birthday, which like
Do
Don't
that.
worry,
like
don't
now.
worry about it. Who cares?
No, yeah, who gives a
Don't
shit?
release them in order.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter.
this is
No
getting
one-
recorded. I guess now it's the 3rd of January.
Dude, just say it was
So-
recorded on
We're
today.
doing
Well,
the video.
you can't just
We're
talk about the
dating it. Now
recording
it's- now
in the
it's not
recording.
evergreen.
Everyone shush.
Whatever. I don't care.
We lost that evergreen
God,
quality.
we're so meta.
I guess so.
But
Well,
yeah, I don't know. I want to like this story
Do we want to do kind of like last thoughts?
because of all the reasons Will said, but at the
Yeah.
same time I fucking hate it because there's nothing. It's all build. It's all build up to nothing.
Let me
Okay.
take a
And that
vocabulary word.
sucks.
Dan, let me take a vocabulary
Alright.
word out your dictionary.
Mm.
It eats the poo poo.
It ito poo poo. The
Alright.
story ito poo poo.
William,
Yes.
your final thoughts.
It's as a story that was written by someone. It's not well constructed and totally unfinished and very frustrating. And assuming that I can stretch my imagination to believe it really happened, I really enjoy it.
Okay.
It was.
Nate's going to bed.
Didn't work for Nate.
Nate shut off.
Nate's
It's not-
not feeling
it
it.
didn't work for me. I enjoyed the first, most of it, and then it just fucked me. So.
Wow.
It just,
Dylan, without a metaphor, your
No.
story, your opinion on the story.
An
What
analogy.
it was bad.
It was what?
are you
Oh.
talking about?
He said it was bad.
Oh.
Bad.
Oh, he's trying. Okay.
What are you saying?
saying?
You want to
It was
finish your
bad.
sentence?
Sopranos. God.
Oh my god.
He's trying to cut it
You
off.
just
Dylan,
killed
Dylan,
your metaphor.
Dylan,
You just
You're
killed
not
it.
the story Barbie.avi.
Not only did we
You don't
say-
just cut yourself off.
Well, I did.
Oh
Okay.
my god.
Yeah, we're not cutting off here, Dylan, so stop. All right, so this is why I like Barbie.avi.
Okay.
Creepypastas were originally intended from, or at least they were intended to not be full stories. That's sort of a new thing that's happened. I may have made a mistake by showing you some of the best and brightest, such as No End House and Normal Porn. But the idea of the copypastas that's just what they are. They're just posts on the internet. They're short little things. Some of them not even 2 paragraphs long. They're just creepy little things that just happen on the internet. And I think this kind of brings back what they were intended to be, which are personal little stories that are... You're 99% sure that Barbie.avi is fake. But there's something about it.
I believe it's real.
But it can be real. And there's
real
no
to
reason
me.
to not believe this. There's nothing in this story that isn't realistic.
Right.
I mean, sure, maybe the idea of figuring out that it's your train tracks that are at your train station or whatever.
That was my biggest problem with it.
Yeah. That might... Obviously, we're dealing with somebody who's a little... I'm not sure what the word is.
Train track enthusiast.
No, but maybe over observant? I'm not really sure.
It's for
Someone who remembers train tracks on an
it's
open
for
field.
It's got nothing to do with the character. It's for plot convenience. That's all it is.
I don't think that's it. I think it's a character who's really interested in this movie, and he saw the movie and thought, oh shit, I have train tracks near my house. Let me see if this fucking plywood thing exists by
No,
me.
but he says he
said.
recognizes the train
That's
tracks.
okay, yeah, fine.
Which
That's what he
was
says.
right. Who the fuck
That's the
recognizes
stretchiest stretch.
Right.
So he goes on
It's
the
a plot
plywood
convenience
path,
thing.
and he goes into the house, and he hears a moan, and it's apparently something so terrifying.
A moan
That-
in an abandoned house.
Also, no one ever really talked about what was in the bathtub, this idea of a white cloth.
Yeah,
That's
that was
freshly
recently
cleaned.
cleaned. Right.
It's some kind of weird, murderous, creepy squad.
Right. The thing is about this, it's like, okay, yeah, it leaves a lot to the imagination, which is usually what I like, but it leaves way too much to the imagination. There's nothing, and there's a lot of creepy observances, but the fact that nothing, or we don't even get like a sliver of something, whatever happened in this house, annoys the hell out of me.
I'm not gonna lie, this scared me the most out of all the ones we've read.
All right.
This is the first one that I...
You were pretty terrified by No End House. Let's
I
be
was
honest.
not.
No one
You
else
were.
was very
No, I
creepy.
wasn't.
You said make it stop. You said
When?
I heard it in there.
Probably out of boredom.
I heard it in my brain.
Yeah.
Alright, I'll
No,
put it-
no one. I think that No End House was the most over the top.
I got
but I did
tired
like
of it
that.
by the end.
It was the
whatever.
If
Stuff on my
no,
notes.
if you're saying that creepypastas were meant to be like these little short annotated
Vignettes, kind of.
anecdotes, then yeah, okay, this definitely works. And then something like
I
No
think it's
End
just-
House is
I don't
fucking
think-
ridiculous.
I didn't say supposed to be. I think it's just this is what it
This was
Evolved
the genesis
from-
It's a
of it.
return to form. Yeah.
kind of, yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, that was cool. I
I
liked it.
just coming off a No End House, it's like
It was a
alright.
drastic swap.
Yeah. You gotta.
You had to ease us
You
into
can't-
it.
yeah,
you
you
can't
can't
just
just-
freaking
you can't
throw
just-
us across the spectrum like
yeah,
that.
you can't just go balls deep in the first.
I guess not.
And just tickle the head and leave the next time.
All right. Well, this has been Scary Friends. A little bit shorter episode than No End House, but still a pretty long one. So we'll end it here. So I've been John, aka Skillfully.
I'm.
Go for it, Dan. You got
I'm
this.
Dan.
I'm not going counterclockwise, and I'm Will.
I'm neat. I'm your mom. No,
Dylan,
I'm
you're
Dylan.
the best.
Dylan is the best person.
I'm
for
Dylan.
this.
Also your mom.
Dylan's
Go
the
to bed.
resident best person in the world and future George Carlin of this podcast.
God bless, man. God bless.
All right. And this has been Skillfully signing off. Take care, friends. Have a good night.